Welcome to the tutorial on the HTML class attribute. The class attribute is a powerful way to style elements and select them with JavaScript. Let's understand this with an example. Here's a code snippet that shows how to use the class attribute in HTML. We have a div tag with the class attribute set to container highlight. Inside the div, there is the text, "Hello World." The class attribute allows you to apply CSS styles to this div, and also select it using JavaScript. Let's define what the class attribute actually is. The class attribute specifies one or more class names for an HTML element. These class names are used to apply styles and JavaScript functionality to the element. Here are some key features of class attributes. Multiple classes can be added to one element, which allows for combining different styles and functionalities. The same class can be used on multiple elements, making it easy to apply consistent styling across a website. Class names are case-sensitive, so be careful with capitalization. Here are a couple of examples. The first one shows basic class usage with a paragraph element. The paragraph has a class named Note. The second example shows how to use multiple classes. Here we have box, large, and primary as the class names. Classes are especially useful for styling HTML elements with CSS. Here are two HTML paragraph elements, each assigned a different class. The first paragraph has the class note, and the second has the class warning. Now let's define CSS styles for these classes. The CSS code defines the style for the class's note and warning. Paragraph elements with the class note will have a light yellow background and a yellow border on the left. Paragraphs with the class warning will have a light red background and a red border on the left. The result is that the paragraph element with class note, this is an important note, appears with a yellow background. The paragraph element with class warning, proceed with caution, appears with a red background. Classes are also useful when working with JavaScript to select specific elements on a web page. Here are some commonly used methods to select elements by their class names. The query selector method selects the first element that matches a CSS selector. The query selector all method selects all elements that match a CSS selector. GetElements by class name is a legacy method to select elements by class name. Here are code snippets demonstrating this. The first line selects the first element with the class note and assigns it to the variable named note. The second line selects all elements with the class warning and assigns them to the variable named warnings. Finally, the last line selects all elements with the class box using the legacy method. Elements can have multiple classes, allowing you to combine styles and behaviors. Here is the HTML code for 3 div elements, each having 2 classes. The first div has classes box and box red. The second has box and box blue. The third has box and box green. Now let's look at some JavaScript code that interacts with these elements. First, we select all the elements that have the class box and assign them to the variable named boxes. Then we select the element that has the class box red and assign it to the variable named redbox. Finally, we loop through all the elements in the boxes array and print their text content to the console. Visually, each box will have a different background and border color based on its class. The red box is displayed with a red background and border. The blue box is displayed with a blue background and border. The green box is displayed with a green background and border. Class naming is important for maintainability and readability. Now let's explore class naming best practices. Use meaningful, descriptive names that indicate the purpose of the element. Use kebab case, which means words are separated by hyphens to improve readability. Keep names short but clear. Use functional or component-based naming to reflect what the class does or what component it represents. Here are some examples. The first example is the class name btn, short for button, and btn primary for a primary button. The next example shows the class name card for a card component, and user profile for a specific user profile card. The final example is the class name textLarge for large text and error message for an error message. Now let's discuss what to avoid. Avoid using non-descriptive names, such as a 1 or XYZ, which provide no information about the element's purpose. Avoid using camel case or underscores in class names, as kebab case is generally preferred. Avoid using overly long class names that make the HTML hard to read. Avoid using presentation-only names, such as red button, as this tightly couples the style to the content. Here are some examples of what to avoid. The class name red button, which specifies the color directly. The class name div_1, which is not descriptive. And the class name blue_text_with_large_font_size, which is excessively long and specific. CSS methodologies provide structured approaches to organizing CSS, often utilizing classes extensively. Let's look at popular approaches to organizing CSS with class names. First, block element modifier or BEM. This is a naming convention that divides components into blocks, elements, and modifiers. The next is atomic CSS. This uses single-purpose classes that each do one specific thing, creating reusable styles. Next is scalable and modular architecture for CSS, or SMACSS. This categorizes CSS rules into base, layout, module, state, and theme. Here are some examples. In BEM, we see class names like card__title, and card__textLarge, showing the block element modifier structure. In atomic CSS, class names like flex, p20, and bgwhite each represent a single style. In SMACSS, class names like lcontainer, module, and module title categorize the CSS rules. CSS frameworks provide predefined classes to simplify styling and layout. Here's how classes are used in some popular CSS frameworks. First, Bootstrap is a popular CSS framework with predefined classes for components and utilities. It allows for quick and easy layout and styling. Next is Tailwind CSS. It is a utility-first CSS framework with atomic classes for building custom designs. It provides a high degree of customization. Here are examples. Bootstrap uses classes like container, row, call MD6, card, and card body to create a structured layout. Tailwind CSS uses utility classes like MaxWMD, MXAuto, bgwhite, and RoundedXL to apply styles directly to the HTML elements. Let's summarize the key points about the HTML class attribute. Classes provide a way to apply CSS styles to multiple elements without duplicating code. This promotes consistency and easier maintenance. Classes make it easy to select and manipulate groups of elements with JavaScript, enabling dynamic behavior. Following consistent naming patterns like BEM and SMACSS improves code organization and maintainability, making it easier for teams to collaborate. Modern CSS frameworks use class-based systems to provide pre-built components and utility classes, accelerating development and ensuring consistency. Classes are fundamental to modern web development, enabling modular, reusable, and maintainable code. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.